Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Devedi, and in this segment today, we are going to discuss about the agreement with respect to semiconductor manufacturing hub between India and Taiwan. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains paper 2 and 3. So let's begin with the different topics that we are going to discuss step by step. These are the many topics that we are going to discuss, and at the last of the segment, I'm going to ask you a mains-based question for answer writing practice. So, why are we discussing this topic today? Because an agreement is almost there to be signed between India and Taiwan with respect to constructing a semiconductor manufacturing hub in India. It's a really good news for India because if we talk about the constraints with respect to the availability of semiconductors, it has been harrowing, especially since the beginning of the year, that means January 2021. And as India is a developing country, it needs semiconductors to manufacture digital equipment such as laptops, such as refrigerators, also to give a boost to its renewable energy companies for manufacturing electric vehicles, also solar panels, and very important for India, the automobiles. So this is a good news for India. Now, there are certain problems that we are going to discuss. Before that, let's know about what are semiconductors basically. So if we talk about semiconductors are a sweet spot between conductors and insulators. Conductors are those materials which allow the free flow of electricity without any resistance, such as metallic copper. And insulators are materials which obstruct the free flow of electricity. So, here the sweet spot is semiconductor. That means it regulates the flow of electricity. Can you name some insulators and conductors of electricity in the comment segment? Okay. So, semiconductors are in the need of the hour because in order to give boost to digital India, and of course, as the exacerbation of digitization has been there because of the pandemic, it is very important that we acknowledge the faster supply of semiconductors in order to meet the demand. And it is usually made up of silicon. It powers a range of materials such as cars, laptops, smartphones, and the others. And in order to enhance digital penetration, India needs incessant supply of semiconductors. Why not make it a part of the geographical region of India so that skilled, unskilled jobs and employments can also be created? And very importantly, from the international relations point of view, India and Taiwan are seeing this as an official economic opportunity to give a boost to their economic ties. Okay, so moving on, if we talk about what is the need, why do we need semiconductors? I have already given you a vague instance that why do we need them. But for cars, fridges, laptops, TVs, and other electronic devices which need to be manufactured as a part of Make in India, as a part of Digital India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, we need, very importantly, the different raw materials for it. And semiconductor is, of course, the root of all, the basic functional unit of making any digital equipment. Also, with respect to pandemic, we can, of course, see the changes that have begun in our ecosystem with respect to digital equipments. Could you imagine 10 years back, a robo that could clean your house? That's a substitution for the maids in our house. So, in order to have a much more COVID-suitable arena where we do not have to interact with a lot many people, the robos have come into existence to give a boost to a better, safer place. Robos are there. So, first is pandemic. Demand for electronics has reached the peak. The importance of being connected through smartphones, the sheer need to kill time with the help of digital equipments, plus the switching of the conventional working system to, moreover, the Zoom calls. Zoom calls are important, especially in the IT industry. We see how important are Zoom meetings becoming. From the far-flung areas, more and more employees are getting connected to a company with the help of digital equipments. That is why we need it. Secondly, now the problem with pandemic is that it is not the sole reason that has given a rise to the needs of digital equipments, but also the sheer necessity to change right now, because in order to control the pandemic, we have started questioning the conventional ways of working. Why not make it a habit? Why not make it a habit for the future pandemics to not become pandemic, right? So, through the pandemic, we also understood that digitization has eased our lives, has also given us much more benefit when we talk about online classes, when we talk about offices which do not need big infrastructures to thrive, but only digital connection. But there has been a shortage. The shortage can be attributed to not only pandemic. Because of the pandemic, of course, constraints have been there. Not only in the semiconductor industry, but many industries. But also we can talk about the constraint in the relationship between China and America. As America blacklisted Huawei, which sold its semiconductors to the American companies, the chain reaction started from there. And that is why we will talk about that as well. But the problem is that manufacturing of semiconductors, it cannot be increased on a short notice. It needs a lot of expertise that translates into the time of more than 3 months. More than 3 months are needed. Because it doesn't only need time to be perfect so that no distortion can take place, but also it involves giant factories, dust-free rooms should be there, and also investment in multi-million-dollar machines, molten tin and lasers. It also takes a toll on the energy and water resources of any place it is based at. So many things are needed for it, and that is why there is a shortage. Also, as you can see with the help of this graph, this is from Gartner Index of Inventory Semiconductor Supply Chain. It saw that the constraints were there since the beginning of the year. And this constraint will not be easing up to the satisfactory level till the year 2023. Although there will be easing as the countries are on a war footing with respect to acknowledging and rectifying the shortage of semiconductors, but it will still take a lot of time. Although it has been said that from January 2022, things will start to get better for semiconductors, but not up to the satisfactory level till 2023. Many countries want a manufacturing hub to be set up in their geographical premises. So if ever the pandemic again ravages the economies through supply chains from different countries, it does not need to rely on some other foreign country for the supply of semiconductors, right? Let's move forward and talk about the other important parts. First, we need to understand that we have discussed the problems with America and China. Again, foundries have increased their wafer price, which as a chain reaction made the prices of semiconductors to go up, and that is why many companies started crunching supplies. They did not supply as much as it was needed. Similarly, because of that, the demand was not matched and the prices went up. There will be constraint that could go to 2023. With respect to Indian scenario, let's talk about the statement, which is according to the data from Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers. Now, automobile industry has already been hit because of the pandemic, but because of the semiconductor shortage, which is very real in nature, has also took a toll on it. If we talk about Maruti Suzuki, the biggest car makers of India, in September, they saw a 60% cut with respect to supply. Mahindra & Mahindra saw a 25 to 30% approximately cut in the supply of the automobiles. So we have this problem. Automobile wholesale in India declined 11% on an year-to-year basis in August. Also, production of laptops, tablets, smartphones, which are very much the need of the hour, and other electronic devices has been impacted by the shortage of semiconductors. Also, it was acknowledged by Cisco's new president for India and SAARC, Daisy Chittalpalli, that this problem is very real, and they also said that we have been flagging this concern since a very long time. Okay, let's move forward and talk about this tweet between the CEO of Qualcomm and the Indian Prime Minister. How they have acknowledged the importance of semiconductors. They talked about 5G. They talked about digitization and why is it important for India to have a manufacturing hub here. Let's move forward and talk about the agreement between Taiwan and India. Now, according to this agreement, there are certain facets that we need to discuss. First, a semiconductor manufacturing hub will be established. Many places have been seen, but it hasn't been finalized yet, because one thing we need to understand that a semiconductor manufacturing hub will also need many other nodes, many other smaller factories to be constructed beside the manufacturing hub so that raw material shortage doesn't occur. An education and training facility of highly specialized nature is needed in order to upskill the manpower that we have, because a manufacturing hub will include the creation of jobs in skilled and unskilled level as well. Again, a bilateral investment agreement so that this can be of sustained nature. Just maintaining a hub and going away and just not taking responsibility and not sustaining that growth is just, it's an anomaly, right? And a free trade agreement so that proper trade can happen without any obstruction is also needed. So, India and Taiwan have agreed that Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and United Microelectronics Corporation will join hands together to have a manufacturing hub of semiconductors in India. If we talk about this company, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, it's one of the biggest manufacturing hubs, manufacturing corporations in the world. Approximately 54% of the revenue from semiconductor manufacturing in the entire world is taken by this company. So you can see how gigantic this company is. You can remember the names. Moving on, if we talk about the company, it has also established a hub in US. A hub in US has been established by the company. Also, it is looking to have a representative office in Mumbai. It has cited various sites in Gujarat and Maharashtra to have a manufacturing hub. And it is, of course, the biggest one, the biggest manufacturing semiconductor company. Moving on, if we talk about the impacts of it for Indian industry and the international relations, we have to understand. From the industry point of view, this is going to be the second such manufacturing hub in India if it gets established. Also, employment will be raised for both skilled and unskilled. Skilled, of course, they will need to be very well equipped with the IT industry. We have a huge power when we talk about human resources, in skilled and unskilled as well, because unskilled laborers are needed along with the skilled. And also it will address the shortage in the sense the shortage of semiconductors. As you can see here, the demand and of the industry of semiconductors is at the current level just $2 billion. In approximately just 4 years from now, it will rise to $100 billion by 2025. That means we need to be well equipped if we have to become a major manufacturing hub. Also, it will also support the PLI scheme, Production Linked Incentive Scheme, which was recently given an incentive of approximately $10 billion to have a manufacturing hub. So it will complement that as well. With respect to international relations, we are of course going to irk China. China wants India to abide by its One China policy, which India has been abiding since a long time, since 1949. We have agreed that yes, there is only one China, one sovereign state of which Taiwan is a part. We have undiplomatic, unofficial relations, undiplomatic basically, not unofficial, but undiplomatic relations with Taiwan since 1995. We have many deals with Taiwan which have irked China, but we say that we support One China policy. Do we need to really support it? This is the question. This is a question for you as a bureaucrat, as future IFS officers. Do we need to abide by One China policy when China says that Kashmir isn't a part of India? Moving on. India and Taiwan, they have established representative office in each other's premises, each other's geographical premises since 1995. And a second Taipei Economic and Cultural Center was established in Chennai in 2012. Also, if we talk about Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in Delhi and India Taipei Association in Delhi, they want more and more official relations to occur. That is why they have been established. Taiwan's focus has been on pulling their investment out of China because China has been getting into Taiwan's air defense system since a long period of time. It is trying to threaten Taiwan, and Taiwan is not happy with that. Taiwan wants to withdraw its investment from China and look for more opportunities in Japan, Europe, and India. As you can see, China is not happy with any trade ties that India has with Taiwan. And you can see the incursions have increased by China into Taiwan's air defense system. How so much so from January this year to 1st September that Taiwan had to tweet, we need to stop this. How incursions are occurring every now and then. Okay, so it's important for India to look at from the perspective of strategy. India and Taiwan both have strategic benefits over here. Also, strategic gains at a time will come if Taiwan is able to get this deal properly into practice. It will send a message to China that Taiwan is economically capable of striking a deal with a big economy like India. Also send a message, it has already sent a message to China by having a semiconductor manufacturing hub in the US, which China saw it as a military union between US and Taiwan. Moving on. Now, if we talk about the conclusion, of course, we have to understand that it will give a boost to Atmanirbhar Bharat, Digital India, and Make in India. Also, it is a boost to give more impetus to unofficial relations between Taiwan and India. Of course, this move is going to be fulfilling that. Do we need a revision of One China policy? There is one sovereign state, that is China. If we do not deal with Taiwan, if we do not deal with Taiwan through China, China gets irked. Do we need to revise it? Secondly, and addressing environmental concerns, because the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Hub or any semiconductor manufacturing hub takes a toll on the approach of greening of the economies. If we talk about Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Hub, it took 50% of the energy from fossil fuels in Taiwan. Also took 63 million tons of water from Taiwan. That means it is an energy and water intensive industry. And also the wastage that it does after manufacturing is also causing a lot of problem. Radiation, skin cancer, so many things are a threat to the vision of the world to be a net zero world. The paradox is that silicon chips and of course the semiconductors are used in solar panels, they are used in electric vehicles. How do we get rid of that? Let's move forward and talk about our mains-based question. Okay? The mains-based question is, what is a semiconductor? Discuss the pros and cons of a semiconductor manufacturing hub in a developing country like India. Okay, and do read this. This is from CNBC. I'm going to tell you the source of it. CNBC, okay? How semiconductor industry worsens climate change. Do read it, because this can be used in cons. Okay? So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated. And thank you so much for watching.